Hi, everyone. This is Rachel with KTRU Radio.
Hey everybody, I'm Mercy Bell.
When describing your career, Ann Powers of NPR has a quote saying, life is complicated when you're a queer Filipina making country music. How do you think, what do you think of that summary?
I really loved that summary and I felt really seen when I read that because I don't know her. And so she really must have listened and I just felt very seen actually. So I thank you, Anne, for that. And thank you, NPR. It's nice to be accepted as your whole self instead of being asked to choose one bit of it or one part of it, you know.
How are you introduced to music when you were younger, whether through your parents, through your background?
So I grew up in a big Asian American household in San Diego. We had a lot of relatives living in one house, and they're all grown ups. They're all adults. Well, I was a kid, and they all listened to music. So I had every kind of music blasting from a very young age. And so like the stereo, all the adults would be kind of vying for radio time or CD time, or they had a vinyl player too, a record player. So I was really lucky that I got to listen to kind of every kind of music as a child, thanks to living with that many adults in one house in San Diego.
To new listeners, what would you describe your genre and what attracted you to your genre of music?
So I like to say I'm a folk musician, but I think that a lot of people don't really know folk music, so they immediately kind of hear the candid storytelling and the acoustic instruments, and they say country, which I'm fine with. I mean, it they kind of cross pollinate, or Americana. But I think that there's a level of storytelling in my songwriting that is actually, it exists a lot in country music. So I'm whatever people want me to be, really. If I can be country, I can be folk, I can be Americana. I have a indie pop song on my album too. So it's whatever you feel comfortable calling it, honestly.
So reading through your bio, I've read that you've grown up in many places in the US. How has that influenced your music, and what attracted you to Nashville, where you're currently based?
Yeah, so I spent half my childhood in San Diego, California, and then that was the 90s, and then moved to Massachusetts, which is where my dad is from, in the late 90s, and then I moved to New York after that, after I graduated college, and then I ended up in Nashville. And every place that I've lived has definitely kind of affected my music, just in terms of not so much styles of music, but I think that when you move a lot as a kid, you're kind of attracted to music about moving and kind of being nomadic, and honestly, the world of folk music and country music and has a lot of that in it, kind of a nomadism and not really fitting in anywhere. Like Western music has a lot of that too. Really folk music also, and I guess Americana, that whole kind of genre of roots music. And I remember wanting to come to Nashville. I was dating a girl from Arkansas, and she wanted to move back to the South. And I was really interested in learning more about songwriting, and Nashville was really the place to learn about songwriting, just kind of any songwriting, honestly. I was just as interested in learning about how to write a pop song as anything. And so we ended up here in 2012. I think it's been a while, and I learned a lot about songwriting, that's for sure. But I really wanted to come here to learn how to write a song, as opposed to just be in a rock band or that live in the rock and roll scene, which is kind of what I was doing in New York. because even singer-songwriters in New York, it's still there's like a real rock and roll aspect to it. So yeah, I guess, does that answer the question? Sometimes I ramble.
All of us do.
Okay,
Let's see. But yes, it answers the question.
cool.
So, at least from what I could see, there's 2 albums. The you have All Good Cowboys and then Mercy Bell. For in the album All Good Cowboys, Icarus really caught my eye. Could you talk to me about what inspired you to write that?
Yeah, so I have dealt with a lot of mental health, I don't know if issues is the right word, but for lack of a better word, issues. Like, I've suffered from depression and anxiety and a lot of things most of my life. And now I'm lucky that I, as somebody who's 35, I have, a therapist and a psychiatrist, and I, work out all the time, and I journal and I meditate and I do all these, mental health things. But when I wrote that, 2009 or something like that, I was just a kid. I really didn't know how. I just knew that I was experiencing these super highs and these super lows, and like, depression would be really intense for me. And then I was also at that point kind of still in the closet and coming out of the closet. So that kind of exacerbated it. And part of me, when I was writing that song, it's half a song about mental health and another half about like being in the closet, and being like wanting to come out, but being afraid to. So, I still deal with my mental health on a daily basis. But I'm really grateful to be where I'm at now, as, I kind of know a lot more. But like, to me, that song, every time I sing it, I'm like, I remember feeling all these things, and I still do now and then. So,
Being Asian American and being queer, for sure, that definitely seems to be a common factor for some people with, like, they don't necessarily mesh well being queer and being part of the Asian American community. For you personally, how was that experience growing up, and were there any obstacles you had to overcome because of that?
There was I was really lucky that my family as a whole was very, like, they loved me no matter what, but there was definitely a lot of fear that I had just kind of growing up in kind of a more traditional community, that like a traditional, like, immigrant community of like, oh, this is like totally going against the culture on some level. And I was so scared. I was really, 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 really scared. And when I finally came out, it was like, I think everybody knew. So it was, I was able to, I don't know, my family loves me, like, really loved me no matter what. But there was a lot of kind of traditional aspects of the culture that I was really scared to even like tiptoe into it. And it kept me in the closet for a really, really long time because I was just really scared. Little did I know, everybody kind of knew that I was gay. So, but it was, and I don't want to ever just kind of blanket statement about, about even my own culture. But there was a lot for me that was like, being gay wasn't really an option, or being a queer female wasn't an option. And I think the fact that it wasn't an option really kind of held me back for a long time. And it's probably done that for a lot of people. But I'm really lucky that my family, when I finally did come out, I was 25. It took me a long time. They were all very supportive of me. Even my grandmother, the matriarch of the family, was like, it's like 2010. Get with the times, I guess. She said that. I know, yeah. But it took me a long time. And I was really scared. I just wouldn't even bring it up. Nobody ever talked about it. So sometimes I think the lack of naming something is really incredibly scary, as I didn't know it was an option. People like it. We like there was talk about gay men, but like women weren't supposed to be gay. You know, it just wasn't a thing. So I didn't even realize I didn't even realize what I was feeling was option until I watched the OC, and I saw the Olivia Wilde arc where she plays a bisexual bartender, and I remember being like, "That's what I'm feeling. This is crazy." So it's just, I don't know. It was a long journey for me, and honestly, everybody's journey takes their own. Take your time. For everybody, take your time. You don't want to. You want to make sure you feel safe before you do things.
Circling back to your sophomore album, can you tell me more about the process of making that album and your decision to make the title self-titled?
Yeah. So the album kind of was 3 years in the make. A lot of those songs I'd been playing out. They're kind of the greatest hits of all the songs I had written and played for the years in between the albums. So they were just like the most popular songs that I had written over those years. And I wanted to self-title it because it was the first time I was really doing a concerted effort to release something quote unquote properly. So with some semblance of a press release, and, run up and all these things. And I thought it was just going to be more bang for your buck, I think, to like call it, it's like you title Mercy Bell, it's called Mercy Bell, so when you Google it, it pops up. But also I think it's exactly when I'm making that album, it sounds exactly how it sounded in my head, which was really important to me because I've spent a lot of time recording over the years, and it took a lot of like trial and error to learn how to make something sound like you want it in your head, how to say no to certain decisions, how to, learn certain terms and things like that. So I felt like it was really just like from my heart and my brain, and it's just a very good representation of me as a person. So it kind of worked on a PR standpoint and also just from like a personal standpoint. And you know what? I'm not ashamed of making business decisions and pragmatic decisions. You got to do what you got to do. But it's very me. So, and I'm very proud of it. If it's the last thing I ever make, I'm very, very proud of it.
So before COVID-19 shut everything down, you were part of the lineup for South by Southwest.
Yeah, I was.
Due to the quarantine, how has this whole situation impacted you both as a person and as an artist?
Every show that I had, I literally quit my desk job to tour, or I put in my notice to tour, and then I took away my notice because they needed some help, and then it's a long story, but like I was seriously planning on like touring this whole year, so it's definitely affected that. Playing live streams has been pretty fun though. I had never thought I would enjoy doing that so much. It's really fun to sit in your living or your bedroom or wherever and play music for people. So, and I'd never done that before. So that was cool. But yeah, it really has kind of made me look at music and art as a way to connect with people. Not that I hadn't done that before, but I kind of lost it a little bit over the years, because when you're just touring and playing and there's so much business involved, you kind of forget that it's this cathartic thing for human beings, so a lot of people have been reaching out to me being like, your music is helping me get through this, and it's really humbling, honestly. And just from a personal standpoint, it's given me a lot of time to just kind of meditate and journal and be with my thought, be with myself, which I had not done in months. I was just on the road constantly, from almost all of last year. I was just on the road. And when I got home, I'd work. So I've basically, all the times I complained about I'm exhausted and I haven't had a day off for 3 weeks, well, I guess I got my wish.
Oops. I also know that Nashville has kind of hit a double whammy because right before COVID-19, there was also the Nashville tornado.
Oh, yeah.
So how has that impacted your community and just trying to connect with everyone, because it's like community kind of has to suffer together, but this might be an opportunity for people to come together to do something positive?
The tornado was really scary. I was in it. I was bartending in the neighborhood that it hit. It literally hit the buildings next to us, and then it hit my neighborhood, but it didn't hit my street. So like I couldn't get back to my house to check on my cat. It was just very, very, very scary. And it's funny because like I'll leave my house to go on a walk, like a quarantine walk. And then some days when I don't want, everybody's at the park near my house, so I'll walk in the other direction, but that's just all tornado alley of all the houses that have been demolished. So it's just, at this point, it's just surreal. And I'm really lucky that my house didn't get hit, but my girlfriend's house did get hit, and she had to, at the beginning of quarantine, she had to live at my house because her house wasn't livable yet. She didn't have like Wi-Fi for 2 months, honestly. So it was kind of it was definitely a double whammy. And a lot of times when people were trying to work, like people were out of work because of the tornado, and then they went back to work and wanted to make money, and then we were told we had to shut down, which is the right decision. Like, I'm glad that our mayor is really awesome and he's on it. But a lot of people were just really scared because everything that the way people make money in Nashville is music and working at restaurants and bars. So both of those were taken away from people. So it's scary. It's a kind of scary time down here right now, everywhere. So, but people are, doing their live streams and going on walks and, I don't know, trying to sign up for unemployment.
Let's pretend we are in an alternative universe and that this wasn't happening. COVID-19 wasn't a thing. South by Southwest happened. Could you tell us what was on your set list and what people would have probably seen and heard?
Yeah, I was going to do kind of the rundown of my greatest hits, which would have been All Good Cowboys, Black Dress, Home, Icarus, which is a song from the old album that we always play, Chocolate Milk and Whiskey, which people are really enjoying. It's a fan favorite. I haven't really been playing Dynamite out so much but sometimes I do, so that may or may not have been on there. We do a cover of Dancing on My Own, so if it's ever a place that you can play a cover, we'll probably do Dancing on My Own. One song, I'm trying to go through, I don't have my track list in my head. I mean, I'm thinking, what other songs do I have? I'm thinking of it in my brain. Oh, Skip to the Part we always play that one also. And then we were working on kind of like an acoustic stripped down version of Everything Changes, but that's a really big song on the album. So we were going to try to whip that one out too. And what else do I have? What other songs do I have? I think that was going to be it, because I remember I think our sets were only supposed to be like 30 to 40 minutes, and then a lot of like the alternate sets were like the showcases or whatever were like 20 minutes or something like that. So sorry, that was very jumbled, but I think I got everything.
That sounds about right.
I'm trying to visualize everything in my head. Bent. We always play Bent. That's always a fun one.
I vaguely remember how South by Southwest works anymore.
I've never been, so I was going to be my first time.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, it was gonna be my first time to South by Southwest, so it was, it's chaos. What can I say?
I really hope that for next year they'll try to keep the same showcases.
That
We'll
would be
see.
great. That
We'll
would be
see what
awesome.
we'll see what they do.
Yep.
Okay. Going back to reality, while people can't see you in person in Austin, there are there are virtual sorry there are quarantine approved ways to still enjoy your music. Do you mind dropping what platforms you're on?
Yeah, I am on Facebook and Instagram and all of the streaming services. If you go to mercybell.com, it'll take you to all the ways that you can stream my music and find me. And I do have live streams, usually on Facebook and Instagram.
Any last comments before we move on to part 2 of the interview?
No, not really. I think you're covering all the bases really well.
Alrighty, so let's see. So for part 2 of the interview, it's going to be speed round style, except it won't be timed. The idea is that you want to be as candid as possible, so you're just going to spew out your answers. You ready?
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm ready.
Describe your music making process as a recipe.
I would do 1 cup of journaling, 1 cup of spontaneous singing in my car, and then 1 cup of sitting on my bed and putting it all together.
During quarantine, have you made bread?
I have not made bread because I suck at baking, but I have eaten a lot of bread that everybody else is making for me.
Describe the album Mercy Bell in 1 word.
I want to say chaotic, but good chaotic. I don't know. That was the first thing that came to mind.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No, but I support your right to eat it. So,
What is your most memorable dream recently?
I had a dream that I got shot in the neck by a monk and was left for dead on my back porch, and then some random friend I haven't seen in a long time saved me. So that was weird, but that was a memorable dream. I lived, I survived. I don't know.
I'm only pausing because I'm I've had so many dreams. I remember my senior year of high school, in almost all of my dreams, they were not dreams, they were nightmares, because some way or another, I guess I'm dying. It changed each time. But one time it was a tornado, another time I drowned, which was ironic because I was a high school swimmer.
Oh my gosh.
What else? There was another one was sim style, except it was real, and it was a weird thing where if you were supposed to die, but then you had to at a certain checkpoint, but I didn't. So the game kind of just was self-correcting, and so I had to die.
Oh my gosh. It's like Hunger Games or something. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but video game form, but you're actually in the video game.
Oh my gosh.
It was some strange Matrix-esque weirdness. So
those are the only ones that I remember are the ones where I'm dying or something. I don't remember any other dreams. Or they're very stressful.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, it was weird.
Okay. What is your personality as a music genre?
I would say personality. I like Linda Ronstadt meets pop, or Sufjan Stevens meets I don't know, twang. I don't even have a twang, but it's the first thing that came to mind.
If there was a first-time listener wanting a recommendation from your discography, what's the one song you would recommend?
Ooh. Icarus or Black Dress on the new record. Yeah.
Toilet paper orientation, Over or under?
Over, because my aunt, who's a nurse, she's an OBGYN nurse, once told me that it cuts down on UTIs. So I've never thought, I think about it every single time. I've never fact checked that, but she's a very trustworthy person. She's not the aunt or uncle who just like tells you things to mess with you. She's like the logical one, you know, so I just kind of took it on face value. She also sent me masks for quarantine. So, you know, you want Auntie Maria on your apocalypse team for sure.
Favorite dinosaur?
Velociraptor.
If you could spend one day as a bug, would you or would you not, and why?
Not unless it was a bug that could like actually kill somebody and you stay alive, because I wouldn't want to get squished. Probably, I think. Yeah.
So those murder hornets?
Yeah, murder hornets for sure.
Oh, Jesus. This is going to be interesting, like, looking back in a few years. It's like, oh, how did that interview go? Oh my God, what the?
It's very, we're living in an interesting era, that's for sure. You know, when you're always like, oh, on my zombie apocalypse team, I didn't ever expect it to actually exist. So, you know, except it's a virus, not a zombie.
Same thing.
Yeah, more or less.
They all cause riots, so.
Yep.
If you can make one unimportant thing for free, what would it be?
One unimportant thing or important? Sorry, my cat's using the litter box.
Oh, cutie.
I know.
If you could make one unimportant thing for free, what would it be?
I don't. Oh man, what would it be? Probably like ice cream or something, just so I could have it. Yeah.
I like that we can't say toilet paper anymore.
Oh yeah. I know, because it's so important now.
What has life become?
Oh, coffee. I take it back. Coffee, because I drink a lot of it. So, yeah.
And then finally, what is your favorite mantra?
Oh, let it go. Just let it go.
Let it go before the Frozen movie or let it go after Frozen movie?
Oh, before the Frozen movie. Yeah. I do a lot of like meditation, and like the whole idea of it is just to surrender. And it's like really hard. Like another good way to say it is like turn it over. Just like let go of it, turn it over. Yeah. It's something that I have to work on all the time, because I'll like get latched onto things. And so it's just like the active release and surrender is like really hard for most people, and including me. So hopefully someday I'll figure it out.
Lastly, before we go, is there anything you'd like to tell our listeners?
Check out my music at mercybell.com. It sends you to all the places that you can stream it. And, you know, just listen. If you like it, tell your friends. I've been really lucky that my music has a really great word of mouth. I don't know. People who like to tell other people to listen to music kind of like my music. So it has a energy in the word of mouth world. So continue that. I don't know if that made any sense, but, you know. I've been lucky that being a grassroots artist has worked out in my favor.
Thank you so much for this interview. This has been an interview with Mercy Bell, Quarantine Edition, signing off.